Your attention, please. During every suspenseful moment of the running of the motion picture macabre, the life of everyone in this theater will be insured by Lloyd's of London for $1,000 against death by fright.
I'm William Castle, and this wheelchair is just to rest my tired nerves after producing a picture like this one.
Bill Castle, he was looked on by his peers and the industry as sort of a schlockmeister. He never got a lot of respect. He was a low-budget horror movie director, and all of his films, because he didn't have big budgets or big stars when he first started out, he had to come up with creative ways to get bodies in the seats. He came up with creative gimmicks.
Every picture had to have a gimmick.
And the gimmicks included things like ensuring the audience against death by fright.
If you were in the movie and you dropped dead, your beneficiary would collect $1,000.
He went to Lloyd's of London and got a legitimate policy. When people went to see the movie, they filled out the beneficiary slip.
Having a skeleton that would fly out on a wire over the audience during the movie.
The skeleton emerged out into the theater.
An inflatable plastic skeleton on a wire. Every kid remembers that skeleton.
Well, the skeleton wasn't too great, frankly, but the audience loved it.
The little special glasses that you could look at the ghosts or not look at the ghosts if you were too scared.
If you want to see the ghosts, you look through the red part. You hold it up like this. If you're too scared, you want to remove the ghost, you look through the blue part. You had to try both ways.
He had the film, but he wasn't sure the audiences were going to come. I am taking this huge risk. I've mortgaged the house. How do I make sure that the audiences come? That fear, and he was driven by fear, made his mind work.
He had to convince distributors and the studio heads to actually go along with these crazy ideas that he had. So for the Tingler, the Percepto buzzers.
The first time in motion picture history, members of the audience, including you, will actually play a part in the picture.
Now we have Percepto.
Percepto.
Percepto was your butt being buzzed.
That was the things under the seats. Make the seat vibrate.
He actually had to create these things and then first convince the studio to let him do it, and then convince the distributors to let them come into their theaters and install these things. I mean, they had to literally screw them in under the seats.
He had an incredibly hard time convincing studio executives, exhibitors to electrify their seats. It was not an easy thing.
He was constantly having to convince these studios that it would work, and they always did.
I got the box of the Tinglers. I have to call somebody at the Denver theater and say, hey, you've booked this movie, haven't you? Guess what? They want to put these things, what do you mean they want to put these things under the seat? I said, I'm telling you, this is part of the gimmick.
We actually employed an army of technicians who went from theater to theater across the country installing these devices.
Everybody thought it was an electric shock. It wasn't really. It was more like a hand buzzer that went like under your seats.
All kinds of really crazy promotional gimmicks that made him as famous as Hitchcock was. He became a brand name in movie horror.
He realized he might be considered to be the star.
This is William Castle, master of suspense.
William Castle successfully branded himself. It's like Eddie Crocker or Walt Disney. It's a brand.
And he also had the soul of an artist, that he really felt like he never got his due. He really never got the chance to make the great film that he always wanted to make, like a Hitchcock film.
Bill was very aware and very much in awe of Alfred Hitchcock. His idol, the man he called the master.
I believe William Castle spent his whole life really being jealous of Hitchcock. I think he wanted to be him.
Bill's competitive nature was such that whatever he saw Hitchcock doing, Bill said, I can do better.
Hitchcock was making really good films. And Dad was making B films.
Well, they cleaned all this up now. Big difference. You should have seen the blood.
I read an article by John Waters called Whatever Happened to Showmanship. And William Castle is one of John Waters' idols, filmmaking idols. So John wrote an article in American Film Magazine, and it was a love letter, and it talked about Castle, his personality, all his crazy antics that he was doing.
He was the low-rent Hitchcock, and I mean that with great respect. He was more fun than Hitchcock. I mean, Hitchcock only had one suit. Hitchcock was the class act, certainly. William Castle was his poor cousin.
I wanted to make the film as sort of a tribute to this kind of ballyhoo, part of Americana that we've really lost.
It was anarchy. It was children's anarchy. It was a shared experience of show business bedlam. That's critic proof, really. People have to tell somebody about it.
William Castle was the last great American showman, and it's a cliche, but truth is stranger than fiction. And I think that we couldn't create a character like William Castle. All you have to do is look into our own history and find incredible stories that still have yet to be told.
He made yellow streaks and footprints going through the audience, and a loudspeaker saying, "These are yellow people. They're yellow." And they were frightened to go out to get their buck.